Thursday, February 1st, 2024. And the View started out by talking about the hearings in Capitol Hill about the responsibilities of big tech. And um, whoever said, I think it was Joy, said it was political theater by a bunch of liars. She should have added hypocrites because that's what this was. Because they're not really going to do anything about it. It's expecting the, the big social media platforms to police themselves is ridiculous. Sunny's correct. It's about creating the law that holds them accountable. Um, and Amy Alyssa Fairfowler Griffin kind of trying to pull it apart and caveat and justify, and it's just like, yeah, honey, you're making it. Nope, it is. It's not that difficult of an issue, and I think the biggest problem is you've got a bunch of um, people sitting in Congress who don't know how it all works, and none of those women at that table know how it all works. None knows. None of them knows how it all works. Um, there isn't a lot of tech expertise uh, in the conversation, whether it's on Capitol Hill or in the media. So that's what they need. They need technical consultants to help write the bill to and to be able to future proof. But they're not going to do any of it because they're just up there to shame people. That's all the Republicans want to do anyway. Speaking of shaming people, then Nikki Haley went on some program called The Breakfast Club, which I don't know that I've heard of before, um, and said something stupid about the division in the country started during Obama's administration. And the host of that program started to say, because of white supremacism, or white supremacists, um, which is correct. And then she just sort of railroaded into a whole bunch of other bullshit. But that's where, like, I expect that we should be holding people accountable to what they're saying, um, because it wasn't. You can't erase the entire history prior to Obama and say there wasn't division in the country before that. We had a fucking civil war. That's might be an indication of division. There's been racism in this country since its founding. So you can't blame Obama for that. But the host is correct. The host of that program is correct by saying when we elected a black man as president, the white supremacists got mad, and so they were fueled by um, Donald Trump's birtherism, um, the right wing conservative media lambasting Barack Obama and his wife at every turn they could get, giving racists every opportunity to discredit Obama. I mean, he wore a tan suit. How dare she bare arms? Like, it's like they fueled the racism by hounding him for the tiniest, not even infractions. He's not doing anything wrong, but they never gave him any credit for anything he did right. And that's part of the reason. Sarah made the point that he never fully, um, you know, I don't know what she said, something about embraced his heritage or whatever she was talking about. Um, he didn't go as hard on liberal policies, and it wasn't just about helping black people. It was about liberal policies because I mean, he was in enough trouble for wearing a fucking tan suit, which that was the Democrats' sort of mo back in the day because we didn't want to look too pushy, and it all that did is push everything further to the right, and make things that are more conservative more acceptable, which is part of the problem. We need to be pushing back, and we need to be not playing politics harder, but being stronger in the politics that we're advocating for. Um, and you know, Amy Alyssa Fairfowler Griffin, trying to minimize the racism in this country is a really weird whitewashing. Either she's just trying to capitulate to a base, or which I don't know why she would, but if she honestly believes that, I don't think she's paying attention. It's pretty fucking bad. And for Sarah Haynes to say Nikki Haley's just doing what politicians do, riding the fence, and we shouldn't expect any more of them. That's fucking bullshit. That is exactly why we're in a situation where people get elected and then we don't hold them their feet to the fire to actually get anything done, and they just sort of skate through their terms and then they get reelected and when nothing ever happens and nothing ever changes and nothing gets better. If we're just going to lay down and say, oh, say whatever you want, and then I'm not gonna hold you to it once you get there, then what the fuck are we voting for? What is the point of the whole process? um and to demand that people live up to the ideals that they purported to believe and wanted to create action on in office. I I think that's our job as as citizens. We're supposed to be holding them accountable. We should be contacting our representatives fairly regularly. Um, there's lots of easy ways to do it. You can call, you can email, but tweeting about it isn't going to do any good. Um, so anyway, it's just super frustrating to see them have that discussion about race and about politics, and for some reason be so laissez-faire about it. I didn't like that. But who wasn't laissez-faire was Billy Baldwin. Did you see that little clip? She's facing him, he's not looking at her. She's gone this, what she called a Jesus path, which is like, that's creepy in itself. And he said, this isn't basically, this isn't the marriage I signed up for, but I love you and I support what you do. So when things like that happen, when a person's sort of fundamental trajectory of their life shifts and it doesn't really mesh with what yours is anymore, you don't have to stay in that marriage to be supportive of each other. It's like, this isn't what I signed up for. If it's affecting how I get to live, um, and and move forward, maybe it's better, instead of fighting about it all the time, we let each other do our separate things, and with all the love and care in the world, but we don't have to share our lives together and be in a marriage. um Shit changes. You don't and you don't have to trap yourself in something that's making you unhappy because somebody else decided um the sort of the fundamental core of who they were is changing. Like, I I wouldn't, I can't handle a religious zealot any more than I could handle a Trumper. I don't like any of the absolutes, um unless you're talking about basic core decency, no murder. uh but anyway, uh so that's the beginning of February, and tomorrow we're gonna all be all talking about some stupid fucking rodent.